good, because all these women frighten me.
Why?
I don't know. Somehow they seem to put me at a disadvantage.
Cary Grant sipping on secrets, Joan Crawford's tragic spiral behind her dazzling smile, and Andre the Giant's legendary 156 beers in one night. Fame hit destruction. Here are 20 worst alcohol addictions that destroyed Golden Age Hollywood stars, and the last entry will shock you. Number 20. Gloria Swanson.
The ears of the world, too. So they opened their big mouths, and out came talk. Talk, talk.
Swanson entertains in shimmering gowns, yet behind closed doors, she wrestles with periods of heavy drinking. She marries 6 times, but especially in later years, friends notice she slips into alcohol binges when career offers fade. Studio gossip hints she hid liquor in her dressing rooms in the 1920s while publicly preaching health. She later shifts to a strict macrobiotic diet and claims to abandon all drinking and smoking, though rumors of relapse persist. Internal letters suggest she once refused an audition unless the producer promised no booze backstage. Few know she threatens to expose a colleague's drinking in contract negotiations. A hidden file shows she placed AA pamphlets in her home during a divorce to shame an estranged husband into sobriety. Next comes an actor whose life imitates his role in the darkest possible way. Number 19. Ray Milland.
I almost wish you would. When she heard that, we'd have the biggest laugh of our lives.
Aren't you forgetting something?
Am I?
Milland wins an Oscar for The Lost Weekend, portraying an alcoholic writer spiraling into delirium tremens. He loses 8 pounds preparing for the role, spends a night in Bellevue's alcoholic ward as research, and hides bottles around his apartment, just like his character. After the film's release, columns swirl. Is Ray Milland drinking off-screen? Some fans refuse to buy a drink for him. Others approach him, hoping he'll crack. Years later, studio insiders allegedly drafted a secret memo in 1951 to stage an intervention. He publicly denies alcoholism at every turn, and that denial becomes part of the legend surrounding The Lost Weekend. Now we'll turn to a star whose addiction devours the light from their very name. Number 18. Mickey Rooney.
I'm gonna take old Polly Benedict to the party and I'm gonna dump her. I'm gonna turn her over to Ben Davis or one of them la-di-das that light girls.
Mickey Rooney begins life as America's boy next door, famed for Andy Hardy. Yet, by adulthood, he spirals into heavy alcohol, drug abuse, gambling, and self-destructing behavior. Sources say his drinking intensifies, particularly after his 5th wife's murder in 1966. He plunges into a deep depression, combining pills and booze. Studio insiders long whispered he hides flasks on set and consumes alcohol before rehearsals. Biographers note he once drank like a fish during Vegas years, often incapacitated backstage. His downward spiral comes in stages: lost roles, fractured family, mounting debts, public meltdowns. A rarely cited fact, in the late 1970s, his ex-managers claimed he owed $600,000 in tax debt, partly incurred from financing addictions. His breakdown becomes a national caution, but one more shocking tale awaits us in the next chapter. Number 17. Tallulah Bankhead.
For a gentleman to say so, but I can assure you, I'm as pure as the driven slush.
Tallulah Bankhead doesn't just drink, she performs a kind of flamboyant intoxication. One account says she downs an entire bottle of bourbon in under 30 minutes, while simultaneously chain-smoking and even inhaling cocaine. In her later life, she mixes alcohol with barbiturates, opiates, plus prescription sedatives in sleep cocktails. She brags openly, "I'll drink what and when I damn well please," she says in interviews. During filming, producers sometimes refuse to cast her unless she promises sobriety, but she breaks those promises. One Hollywood studio had rejected her for the screen Blanche DuBois role, citing drinking rumors. In her last decades, she consumed a quart of bourbon daily while layering sedatives like Tuinal and Dexamyl. Her maid reportedly taped her arms to prevent overconsumption at night. She dies after years of this collapse, but the next story is even more shocking. Number 16. Cary Grant.
Red, you're far and away your favorite person in the world.
Dexter, in case you don't know...
Of course, Mr. Connor, she's a girl who's generous to a fault.
Cary Grant boasts charm, elegance, yet he hides a volatile alcohol habit. Biographers record years of heavy drinking, especially late nights with Hollywood's elite, mixing whiskey, wine, gin, unmeasured servings poured under studio spotlights. Some sources say he uses LSD-assisted therapy to try to curb his inner demons, undergoing perhaps 100 LSD sessions over 4 years, beginning at age 55. He attends these in hopes of breaking dependency, but the drinking pattern never fully vanishes. On set, colleagues whisper he sometimes arrives hungover, hair mussed, a little drunk. In one marriage trial, his wife accused him of drinking excessively, choking and beating her. He simulates intoxication so convincingly in films such as The Philadelphia Story and The Awful Truth that many believe it's genuine. Few know that near his end, he privately warns some confidants, "I couldn't trust the drinkless me either." Many assume his public image is untouchable, but his hidden addiction fractures it daily. Number 15. Ava Gardner.
You come to see me for the same reason as the man with the sweat on his face.
Well, yes, but as you see, I have no sweat on my face.
Ava Gardner, radiant and magnetic, battles heavy drinking behind her luminous face. In the 1950s and 1960s, insiders claim she consumes 2 or more bottles of martini or vodka nightly, sometimes downing shots between scenes. While exact volumes aren't reliably cataloged, memoirs and studio rumors cite she often requires a glass of gin for liquid courage before public appearances. After divorcing Frank Sinatra, she sinks deeper. Bartenders in Spain recall her drinking by the bottle, sometimes mixing pills. Her health collapsed under cirrhosis, liver troubles, and hepatitis scares. She's hospitalized in 1989 with acute liver failure. Many believe her alcoholism accelerated her decline in the 1970s, shrinking offers and tragic isolation. A little-known fact, she reportedly insisted during one film montage that extras bring her whiskey on set to stay in the mood. She even once walked off a production mid-scene to fetch her drinks. Her brilliance dazzles the screen, while her drinking quietly eats away at everything else. Number 14. Robert Walker.
Afraid to kill her. You know why? You'd get caught. And what would trip you up? The motive.
Walker's promising career collapses under the weight of a lethal cocktail, alcohol and amyl nitrate, a pauper's drug. He died at just 32. Many say his last night involved a binge of scotch or whiskey paired with nitrites, combining depressants in a dangerous synergy. Rumors circulate he took pills to steady his nerves before shows, then drowned them in spirits. His Broadway landlord once confronted him about inebriated behavior. Walker allegedly banged on doors, demanded more liquor. Some insiders reckon another star's jealousy arranged for his overdose to look accidental. The exact quantity of alcohol he consumed that night is unrecoverable, but death certificates cite acute alcohol poisoning with barbiturates. Walker's rise and abrupt fall looms like a warning. Next, a legendary physical comedian whose drink nearly erased his entire legacy. Number 13. Buster Keaton. Keaton, once a master of precision and stoicism, descends into alcoholism by the 1930s. He switches from clean living vaudeville to heavy drinking, consuming multiple cocktails nightly. Family recollections say he'd slam whiskey before performances to dull anxiety. During his MGM years, he's reported to arrive drunk on set, slur lines, miss marks, and hide liquor in coat pockets. Over time, studios assigned him limited roles, citing unreliability. His financial troubles mounted. By 1948, he filed for bankruptcy. His third wife recalls hiding empty bottles behind walls and in laundry hampers. Though later recovering some sobriety, Keaton spends decades battling cravings. A little-known fact, he once held a public intervention by his kids backstage in 1950 to force him into rehab. Keaton's brilliance dims under ruinous habits. Number 12. William Holden.
You don't think when they hang that paranoid that's going to be the end of persecution? Another greedy psychopath will come along and
Holden battled alcoholism openly by the 1960s and 70s, increasingly known in Hollywood as a heavy drinker. He contracts hepatitis, but then launches into a binge. Reports say he refuses to slow down, even when doctors warn of liver damage. On set, he sometimes disappears for days, leaving crews scrambling. His roles shrink. He loses box office status as rivals rise, yet his drinking becomes a crutch to numb embarrassment. In November 1981, intoxicated at home, he slipped, hit his head, and bled out. He's conscious for at least 30 minutes before dying. He's found 4 days later. Few know that forensic reports estimate blood alcohol levels were extremely high at death. Next is a powerhouse actor whose alcoholism ebbs and flows in dramatic fits. Number 11. Spencer Tracy.
I don't know. I can't quite figure you out. Well, what are you trying to prove? Why am I here?
Well, Sam,
After all, you know, look.
Tracy is haunted by cycles, sober for months or years, then collapsing into binges. He missed filming Mary Galante in 1934 after a 2-week binge, found unconscious in his hotel. Fox drops him. MGM later hires him. Luella Parsons' archives note he's destructive, awful when drunk. Katharine Hepburn says he can abstain for long stretches, then relapse without warning. His health erodes, respiratory ailments, insomnia, dependence on barbiturates. Many believe his alcoholism shortens his life by years. Next, we go deeper into a star whose fall is faster than their rise. Number 10. Joan Crawford.
Biggest night we have. It's part of our family, it's part of our group, it's part of the thing we should go to.
Crawford struggles with alcohol, especially in her later decades. Biographers report she mixes pills and booze to sleep, wine or whiskey before dinner, sedatives afterward. She distances her children, lashes out in rage, and becomes increasingly controlling. Some accounts say she keeps hard liquor hidden behind walls during her Queen Mary years. Rumors whisper she once poured vodka into her children's milk bottles to punish them, though unverified. Studio archives note her moods shift erratically on location when she's denied a drink. She publicly frames herself as disciplined. Insiders remember a woman addicted to concealment. A lesser-known detail, toward the end, she insists that any visiting cast bring a specific brand of liquor to her set. The damage to her relationships and reputation is permanent. Next, a legend whose fall mixes pipes, gin, and doomed marriages. Number 9. Montgomery Clift.
No, I don't want you to lie to me. But I don't want you to lie to yourself.
But I haven't changed, Michael. I've been married.
After his 1956 car crash, Clift suffered facial injuries, chronic pain, and insomnia. He turns to alcohol and barbiturates to dull physical agony and psychological trauma. Studio insiders document him slurring lines by 1958, hiding bottles in his dressing rooms, and using liquor to sleep through pain. He drinks nightly, even when filming Judgment at Nuremberg, his intensity flagged by co-stars. Alcohol worsens depression. By the 1960s, he suffers cirrhosis rumors and weight fluctuations of 20 pounds within weeks. His final years are a fog of pills and shots. He dies at 45 from a heart attack. Many believe his alcohol use accelerates the collapse. Few know he recorded a private tape in 1965 admitting, "I'm punishing myself with drink." Next is a torrid life fueled by bottles and broken promises. Number 8. Richard Burton.
No, they don't hold senior stocks, but I know there was a famous Welsh...
Burton's consumption routinely reaches 12 to 15 whiskeys a day or more during filming. He staggers through sets, slurring, forgetting lines. During the Klansman shoot, insiders claim producers shot his scenes with him seated or lying down because he couldn't stand. His spine, examined during a later surgery, is said to be coated in crystallized alcohol deposits. He fights 6 hospitalizations for liver damage, but keeps drinking. Burton once collapsed in Cannes during Cleopatra publicity, trailing vomit and bile in front of cameras. He and Elizabeth Taylor trade boozy insults, and rumors suggest they once wagered who would last without drinking. When sober, colleagues say he's brilliant, drunk, destructive, and unpredictable. He admits late in life that drinking built walls between me and the world. Now, the wildest drinker of them all, his stories overshadow his roles. Number 7. Oliver Reed.
Finished. I was going to say it was a sword fight, but I think because that was a better story. It was a more romantic story, but
Reed's reputation as cinema's hellraiser is no myth. He once drank 100 pints of beer in 24 hours. In one legendary night, 36 friends claim they consumed 60 gallons of beer, 32 bottles of scotch, 17 bottles of gin, 4 crates of wine. Reed later revises the story, but the myth sticks. During the filming of Gladiator, he dies mid-shoot in a Maltese bar after a drinking contest with sailors. Producers originally vowed no drinking on set, but Reed sneaks weekends. He's been fired for drunkenness on Cutthroat Island. He repeatedly insults co-actors, vomits on set, barges into live interviews drunk. He dies of a heart attack at 61. Many believe alcohol is the direct cause. His scenes in Gladiator finish via CGI doubling. Next is one of the oldest Hollywood falls, soaked in sorrow and liquor. Number 6. W.C. Fields.
Well, from the little acorn grew the mighty oak.
Fields crafts a public persona of tipsy humor, but privately, his drinking rules every hour. He's rumored to start each morning with gin and soda, then move to bourbon or whiskey throughout the day. In some reports, he keeps a flask in his sock, another in his cane, and orders liquor between takes. Colleagues claim he once demanded a bar cart on set during It's a Gift so he could sip between scenes. He fights bronchitis and respiratory infections exacerbated by booze. In one notorious incident, he vomits during a live radio broadcast, then jokes about it on air. He collapses backstage at times, forgotten by the cast, only to revive and mock his own infirmity. His later scripts include near-drunk dialogue that may reflect his real speech patterns. A lesser-known detail, he once sued a restaurant for refusing to serve him martinis late at night. Now, the monstrous legend whose tolerance became his curse. Number 5. Andre the Giant.
The only professional wrestler who's still undefeated. And Hulk Hogan.
Andrei Rousimov drinks like a force of nature. In his prime, he consumed dozens of beers nightly. One famous tale says he downed 156 beers in one sitting in Dortmund to win a bar tab. His body size and metabolism let him stay drunk longer, but the damage piles up. His liver, kidneys, and heart bear years of abuse. Doctors later link his acromegaly complications with chronic alcohol stress. Wrestling stories abound. He'd slur promos, fall asleep mid-match, and once urinate money on fans as a drunken prank. Backstage, he hides champagne in his trunks, champagne in his shoes, sometimes smashes bottles for effect. Behind the caricature is a man slowly rotting from inside. Few outside wrestling circles realize his massive drink habit accelerates his early death at 46. Now, a dazzling star whose drink nearly drowned their legacy. Number 4. John Barrymore.
Not realizing that the whole show might be pulled.
John Barrymore, dubbed the Great Profile, was once Hollywood's most magnetic leading man, but alcohol became the slow poison that ruined his brilliance. In the 1920s, Barrymore dominated Shakespeare on stage and swashbuckling films on screen. Yet, by the 1930s, whiskey filled more of his days than rehearsals. Colleagues whispered he carried a silver flask into every dressing room, sipping between takes until his lines blurred into nonsense. Directors sometimes hid cue cards just out of camera range because Barrymore couldn't remember dialogue after drinking. By his final years, he was reduced to parodying himself in B-movies, stumbling, shaking, often too drunk to stand for long scenes. Friends begged him to stop. He laughed them off. His appetite for liquor was so notorious that doctors once warned he'd died if he took one more drink, yet he ordered another round within the hour. After his death at 60, a macabre legend grew. Errol Flynn allegedly had Barrymore's embalmed body smuggled into his home for a twisted Hollywood prank. Whether true or not, the story symbolized how Barrymore's once great name became entangled with drunken excess, a warning of genius wasted by the bottle. Number 3. Richard Harris.
Marvelous thing, actually, that in the mornings, I don't know if you remember this, but early in the morning, you used...
Richard Harris lived as if alcohol were part of his identity. Booze was both his muse and his curse. In the 1960s, he skyrocketed to fame with Camelot and This Sporting Life, while simultaneously gaining a reputation as one of Hollywood's most uncontrollable drinkers. Friends describe him polishing off 2 bottles of whiskey in a single evening, then rolling straight into filming the next morning. His parties were infamous, rivers of Guinness, nights stretching until dawn, and Harris at the center, roaring poetry with a glass in hand. On the set of Camelot, insiders claim he was so drunk during one scene that the director filmed around his slurred speech, using distant shots and body doubles to hide his condition. His antics once led him to be banned from a London hotel for life after a days-long binge destroyed an entire suite. Yet, through the chaos, Harris maintained a rugged charm. Fans adored his devil-may-care attitude, even as his health crumbled. Doctors eventually warned him he wouldn't live to see 50 if he didn't quit. He tried sobriety, relapsed, then tried again. By the 1980s, his body bore the scars of decades of whiskey and Guinness, but he never fully abandoned the legend of his drinking. Harris later quipped, "I had a choice, give up drinking or acting. So I gave up acting." Behind the bravado, though, was a man whose career might have soared even higher if not shackled to the bottle. Now, a screen legend whose collapse is the most heartbreaking of all. Number 2. Errol Flynn.
This must give you a lot of satisfaction, Bunny.
It does.
Flynn builds his swashbuckling persona on drinking, gambling, and sex, but those vices deepen into obsession. In his last decade, he reportedly consumes a quart of scotch a night or more, mixing in champagne and brandy. He faces liver cirrhosis diagnoses by 1959, but ignores them. Once, he drunkenly crashes his car into a wall, claims, "Someone tried to kill me," then demands whiskey in the ambulance. Studio executives blacklist or cancel him, fearing unpredictability. In Adventures of Don Juan, he drinks between takes. In Cuban Rebel Girls, he shows up drunk and incoherent. On his deathbed, he reportedly rattles for whiskey, even as doctors refuse. Few remember that in his final year, he signs over all assets to creditors to fund medical bills. Ahead, the most tragic of all, her demons swallowed not just her life, but the dreams of many. Number 1. Judy Garland.
And I can't read a note of music, and my eyesight is so bad.
From teenage stardom, Garland is trapped in pills and booze. At as young as 12, studios feed her amphetamines by day and barbiturates by night. She later turns to alcohol to quiet her inner turmoil. At her lowest, she's found unconscious in hotels, with half-empty whiskey bottles by her side. Early in her life, she devours diet pills with liquor to maintain her thin image. In 1969, she collapsed in London after intensive touring, passing out before a show. Her autopsy lists barbiturates, codeine, and chloral hydrate, but friends say alcohol primed the crash. In her journals, she calls drink a cruel bedfellow that betrays me at night. The last phone calls she makes are often slurred, apologetic. Her death at 47 leaves a staggering void in Hollywood legend. Hollywood's brightest stars carry the darkest secrets, and these scandals prove it. If you love these shocking tales, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and watch our other videos for more unbelievable Hollywood history you've never heard before.